Superman and Lois, Season 4, Episode 9. The penultimate episode to the entire show. We're here, folks. We got one more left after this. I've covered every single episode of this show. It was one of those post-pandemic things where I'm like, this could work. This is what we need from Superman right now. It's been an incredibly fun ride. I'm so glad we're here. I am blown away by what this show has been able to do. Especially in like this season. We reduced a lot of cast members. We, have limited screen time for certain things, and our budget's lower. We moved to different locations. That's all very apparent in this season, but I think for the most part, it's held itself together really well. A couple things aren't perfect, but I'm glad that we at least got to this point of a finale. It is kind of interesting that, we're just doing the same thing that we did last season for this finale. I'm very, very interested in, that dynamic. I think part of it is we could just end this on the eternal battle between Superman and Doomsday. We don't have to touch on it. But now that we know we have the green light for Season 4, let's do it properly this time. This season opened up, and it was the death of Superman. Seems like we're going to be doing the death of Superman again in the span of 10 episodes. Which is interesting. We'll get to that in a minute, though. We have a little bit more to talk about at the beginning. You'd think for the penultimate episode, we'd have a lot more going on. I mean that in the best way possible. People have been theorizing Brainiac's going to show up in the end of the season. I don't think he is now. I genuinely think it's just going to be we're taking down Luthor. I don't know if we're going to introduce any more characters. Why would we? We have one more episode left. I think penultimate episodes are really important. Now, my personal philosophy, and it's something you don't see a lot of in television, is the penultimate episode or penultimate issue should be the end of the big climactic battle, and then the final episode is the denouement. Give us the proper send-off to these characters. That is how I tend to write a lot of my stuff, and that's how I think things are just pace better. But this one just kind of gears up to the last one, so I don't know how that's gonna go. Few things are happening in this episode. The main plot is Lois trying to find somebody who can testify against Lex Luthor. She is getting sued by Lex for defamation, and she's like, I gotta find someone who can go against him, whose word actually means something. Currently in the enthralls of the show, Lois's name and reputation is on the line. People don't really want to trust her. Advertisers don't want to do stuff for the Smallville Gazette, which I find very interesting because they go back to keep saying everyone in Smallville is against Lex Luthor. So how come businesses in Smallville don't want to pay for advertising in her Smallville-based paper? I don't know. But whatever. Maybe it's the online edition. It doesn't matter. That's a plotline for her. A lot of her talking with Amanda McCoy. And that plotline kind of just becomes Lois is trying to tell her he's going to use you for something you don't understand. Turns out Lois is right. The character that we've met a couple times before who was having a little bit of a fling with Sam, it turns out that she was actually in love with Luthor before. So we know her as Gretchen. Her name was Cheryl, I think it's Cheryl or Carol or something like that. She was in love with Luthor. Luthor used her until he didn't need her and then discarded her. That's exactly what Lois is saying is going to happen with Amanda. But she's unconvinced until she's proven right. Because, of course, this entire... And this is the thing I find so interesting. This entire season has been about the women in Luthor's life don't like him. His wife and his daughter don't like him. Why do these other women think they stand a chance? What leads Amanda to thinking he's a better person? I don't understand her logic there. So she eventually leaves Luthor after he reveals I'm doing things my own way. Your plan's not working. It didn't destroy Lois the way I want to. I want to be in control of everything. Which, yeah, obviously. Obviously. Oh, Lex, you're always doing some stupid stuff. You're building a dumb suit, and you're just gonna watch some shit happen. That's him. We also see Lois going to talk to Bruno Mannheim. Look who's back. A fantastic character from the previous season who kind of represented a specific role for the Lex Luthor. And he's there is nobody left alive that is going to testify against Lex. It is just not possible. There's nothing that could be done. It's pretty much over. It's over. Like, you can't beat him in this capacity. He's going to destroy everything. I like this Bruno. There's a lot of just like great subtlety with like him and Lois just talking about like Pia and everything and like their friendship and their kind of connection there. That's how you do it. Like, if you're going to show us like the big bad of the season, Scary, have the villain from the previous story show up and just be like, yeah, it's hard to beat this guy. That always works. That is always something that works well. So I like that angle a lot. And Lois' story kind of like ties in eventually to like the other major crux of what's going on in this episode. But she spends a lot of time arguing with Amanda. It's like, you can't trust him. He's going to use you. It's not going to work the way you want it to. Literally confronting Amanda, I should say, all over Metropolis and Smallville. And turns out she's right, because Luthor's like, I don't want to do your plan anymore. You can literally have the business. Like, you've been good to me. You can have LexCorp. I don't care. I'm just going to go beat up Superman and ruin Lois's life. That's all I want to do. That's all he's wanted to do this whole time. Why you think he wanted anything else, I don't understand. Now, the other part of this episode is Clark trying to get his boys ready for the big fight that's ensuing. We're going to be coming to a point where Superman is going to die and the Superboys have to take over. Like, that has been the through line pretty much since episode 1 of this show, is eventually we're going to see Jordan or John, some iteration of that, doing something. So this episode actually has them doing some fun stuff. Like, they become instant celebrities. They go to like their favorite diner and they like change the menu to be like Superman adjacent. So John's like dish is like French dip, and I'm like, that's pretty fun. And then Jordan's is like curly fries, and it comes in like a bucket that's got like his hair, and the curly fries are his hair. That's awesome. Here's what I'll say about that. The best part about that is like, that's a joke that his bucket of curly fries is on the kids menu. That bucket of curly fries is bigger than most kids in Smallville, I'm guessing. What kid is going to have a bucket that big of curly fries? That is an insane amount of curly fries. As somebody who had curly fries the day before recording this, my bucket wasn't that big. You know, like, that's a lot. I'm like, have we seen them eat curly fries and French dip in this show? I don't think we have, but I think it's fun. So then it's like Clark doing a couple incidents to train them. So they go to the fortress, training that way against the suit. But he's like, you know what? We were doing this the wrong tactic. You have the two of you together. You are the Wonder Twins, whatever. You can do things together. So what we're going to do is we're going to train, and you guys are going to fight me as a team. That's how we're going to try this. That kind of works, but it's kind of cut off before they could get like any resolution to like seeing the boys team up to take down their dad, because we have to go deal with the Doomsday thing. So I thought Doomsday was dead. I'm like, oh, like, we don't need to bring him back. It's about Luthor now. But no, we got Doomsday again. He's digging all the way back into like the caverns and the mines. He's yearning to go back into the mines because he wants to go home. And Luthor shows up, and he's in like the new suit that he retrofitted from John Henry, and he's just going, yeah, I'll kill you again if you want to go beat up Superman again. He doesn't really want to, but he dies. And now we have to have another fight between Superman and Doomsday. This time, however, since we killed Doomsday again, he's coming back stronger and more dangerous than ever. So he's actually going to look like Doomsday. It looks good. Like, I think this design lends itself better than like the more fleshy skin face, because it's Jaded Rocks. That's easier to animate, and we don't have to have it as expressive. So then it's just another Superman and Doomsday fight, except this time Smallville's getting destroyed. Like, we are breaking businesses and stuff. People are blasting through the sides of buildings and everything. We're breaking it. Like, we don't have to film here anymore, so let's just destroy it, you know? I get that. I understand that. So let's break everything. It looks really good. Like, I gotta say, for this show having such a limited budget and not really being able to do certain aspects, they know where they're putting their money. And the fight sequences, I think it looks better than some of the previous ones we've seen. Maybe because we're getting so close to the end, we can actually like amplify some stuff, and it's like we saved our budget specifically for this thing. It looks good. It looks really impressive. I like the way this Doomsday looks. I like the Superman costume. There's also a scene earlier on in the episode where Superman goes to confront Lex, and it's just like, hey, I know what you're doing. I don't like it. Just know you're not going to get away with it again. Like, whatever you think you're playing at here, you think because you shaved your beard and you put on a suit, you're suddenly like a fancy businessman. I know you're a punk rock son of a bitch. I'm not surprised by any of your tactics anymore. Nothing you do is going to work again. Cut to the end of the episode where it looks like Superman's going to die again at the hands of Doomsday. One other thing, this isn't like a big deal. I wonder why we just couldn't animate pants onto Doomsday. Is that so weird? Was Krypton, the TV show, the only one that had Doomsday in pants? Like, I can't remember like what that specific Doomsday looked like. But the movie didn't. I can't remember if Smallville did. Theirs was like a weird guy, like Sam Witwer turned into like a guy. But why can't we just put like trunks on him? Or boots? You know? Like, I don't know. That seems weird. Like, where are his genitals? Why did his genitals leave? I always find that stuff weird. Just put pants on him. I don't know. And yeah, the episode literally ends with like Superman beaten and bloody. He's got like slashes all over his face. He's looking up at his family again. Says, I love you. And then Doomsday comes down and swoops him and is taking him away. Where's he taking him? Probably to fight in space again. I don't know. It's weird because we just did this last season. Like, this exact plot, this thing that is happening right now, we already did. And we know he came back from it. But now that we know Superman is weaker, is that going to, like, raise the stakes? Kind of? I don't know. I genuinely don't know if that's going to be, like, a big thing that's going to, like, change the perception of how the stakes are going in a show like this. But I'm happy with it. I think what we are doing is working. And with one episode left, I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. But I have ideas. I don't know. It's very interesting. Like, it surprised me how far we've come, but also how we just went back to the Doomsday Well. And I get it. If you ask like a non-comic book fan, what's the most iconic Superman story of all time, they'll probably say the one where he dies fighting like a big monster made of rocks. Like, I think that's what it would be. So, doing that in a television show, I mean, I do understand it. You're going to get people knowing what you're doing, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a really interesting episode. Because as much as it is like a penultimate stuff, setting up what the final episode's going to be, there isn't much to go on here. Like, we still don't have somebody to face Lex in like the trial. We have cameos from Bruno, but I don't think he's coming back. And I think this stuff with like Amanda's kind of like wrapped up. Like, she's either going to testify against Luthor, or we're just going to, I don't know, kill him? I don't think we're going to kill him. I think we're going to put him behind bars again. Like, that's where it has to go. Because what else would it be? Like, killing him? That's not fun. We want him arrested again because he's a prick. It's going to be interesting. And I do think there's going to be the time jump. We'll see how it goes. Does Superman fly into the sun to save us? Maybe. I do like that ending more for his character. But again, we'll see how this goes. One more to go. We'll be back next week to talk about the episode. And then I'll say right now, I've talked about it on other platforms too. We're going to go right into Creature Commandos. I was thinking about it. I think we're just going to do it. I want to talk about the DCU. It's something I'm kind of excited about. So we're going to talk Creature Commandos the same week. I think we're going to go straight from Superman and Lois to Creature Commandos. So that's going to be very interesting. Well, until then, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.